Welcome everyone. My name's Amelia. Thank you for joining OzHarvest to celebrate National Science Week. We are delighted to join schools across Australia to celebrate this year's theme, Food Different by Design. We love this theme as it provides an opportunity for young people to hear from Australia's industries and innovators and learn about how they're using science to ensure we have a sustainable food future. We hope that through meeting leaders in this space, you can learn about how the food choices we make every day impacts the environment. Food is the heart of OzHarvest, from feeding people in need to creating a positive change through our education programs that inspires others to fight food waste. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce a leader in the food innovation space, not only in Australia, but globally. Welcome, OzHarvest CEO and founder, Ronni Kahn.
Hello, everybody. I would like to acknowledge that I meet you all on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I pay my deep respects to the elders, past and present. And a huge hello to everyone. I wish I could see you all. Nearly 200 schools, I believe, have tuned in. Thank you for joining us as a part of National Science Week. Food might not be the first thing that springs to mind when thinking about science, but it plays a huge role, especially when it comes to the environment. You know, when I started OzHarvest, I had no idea that wasting food was bad for the planet. I just knew it was wrong when there were so many people going hungry. I actually was part of the food waste problem, which is why I decided to do something about it. Now, we understand that food waste is in fact a global issue, which is directly linked to climate change. The food that goes to waste every year creates around 10% of global greenhouse gases, which we now know is extremely dangerous to the planet. A fact that blows me away is if that food were a country, it would be the third biggest emitter after the USA and China. That is a lot of greenhouse gases. And it's also a huge waste of natural resources. Just think of everything that goes into producing the food we need. Precious land, huge amounts of water, time to grow and harvest it, and then we have to package it up and transport it. So greenhouse gases are produced at every stage. And then all of our research tells us that we throw a third of it away. It's crazy. So let's take an example of a burger. The classic one with the bun, the lettuce, the tomato, and the beef patty. Just throwing away that one burger in the bin wastes the same amount of water as having a 90-minute shower or 15 baths. It's hard to accept and understand that. In Australia alone, over 7.3 million tons of food is wasted each year. It's costing our economy more than $30 billion. And most people ask me about supermarkets and assume that they are the big wasters. But in fact, that's not true. Whilst food gets wasted at supermarkets and every other food business, including restaurants, hotels, and airports, and quite a lot does not even make it off the farm, which is just wrong because of the shape or size. That doesn't make sense. But would you believe me if I told you that most of the food that we waste comes from our homes? Over 3 million tons worth of food. The slide that you're seeing shows what that would look like if it was dumped into Sydney Harbour. Not a pretty sight. And you can't actually even see all the food that is underneath the water. In Australia, the government has set a national target to halve food waste by 2030. And this is in line with the the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And for those of you who are quick at maths, this is the science chapter, science program. That's only 9 years to go, or 468 weeks, or 3,285 days. So there is huge urgency. We had better get a move on, don't you think? The good news is that most food waste is avoidable. And not only that, but reducing food waste at home is the single most powerful way we can all take climate action, become climate action heroes, and we can start today. OzHarvest would love to rescue all the surplus food that's around, but that would take a lot more vans than we've got available. At the moment, we collect about 250 tons of food a week, and that's the same weight as 2 blue whales. Can you imagine that? We can't collect from homes, but our yellow vans are out every day rescuing perfectly edible food from supermarkets, restaurants, caterers, hotels, delis, anywhere in the food supply chain, and any business that has got good quality food that might otherwise go to waste. Rescuing food is definitely one of the solutions to tackle food waste, but it's going to need many, many more innovative solutions if we're going to reach that goal of halving food waste in 9 years. So we've come up with a few others. In 2017, we opened Australia's first free supermarket. It's stocked with rescued food, and this supermarket was based on a take what you need and give if you can philosophy. It's open to everyone, but it's especially to support those who cannot afford to buy their own food. That's just one example of a solution to help reduce food waste. But maybe back in class, you can think of some more, and I would love you to let me know, because more ideas means we can do more. Now, let's think about all the food that goes to waste before it even gets to the shops. Did you know that around half of all fruit and veg that's farmed never make it to the supermarkets just because it looks a little bit wonky or when it looks a little bit ugly? When I was making the film Food Fighter, I visited a farm in northern Queensland and saw how devastating it was to the farmers who have to throw away mountains of food and plow it back into the ground as it's just the wrong shape or size. Can we please watch the clip from the movie? And while you watch it,
I was to present this to
after, I will just share with you how painful it was to see.
to present this to, say, Coles and Woolworths for display or sale in their shop. They wouldn't be able to accept it. It doesn't comply with their sizings or their standards. Even though it's still a beautiful lemon and better value, it's riper, it's sweeter, and it's juicier.
Look out.
These ones you can pull off there, for example, and just drop them on the floor.
Many supermarkets
I know.
the odd bunch or the ugly fruit and veg section.
Breaks my heart to do this as well, anyone else.
But one of the other things you can do is shop at a local farmer's market where you can talk to the people who have actually grown the produce. Also, shopping at markets gives you a better idea of what fruit and veg is in season. So we know that fruit and veg might look a little bit wonky, a little bit out of shape, but once you chop them up, I can guarantee you it tastes exactly the same. Now, we know we can't possibly rescue all the surplus food. So innovation has a key role to play in finding new solutions. And that's where science and technology can help to tackle this problem. After seeing all those oranges going to waste, I knew that we had to do something. And so we came up with Juice for Good. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's an orange juice vending machine that uses up all the oranges that can't be sold. We get them straight from the farmer. Some of them are a little bit out of shape or whatever, but we have saved millions of kilos of oranges and dispersed, I don't even know how many thousands of cups of healthy and delicious juice. But that was just one solution to using up ugly oranges. So can you get your inventor thinking caps on in your next science class and see what you can come up with? Because we are all part of the solution. So to make sure that food fills bellies and not bins, I need all of you to help. Can you please look for clever ways to use food that might not look perfect? Spotty bananas, a bendy carrot, day-old bread. I want you to know that my favorite recipe that I cook with my grandson is banana pancakes. Now, there should be a poll on the screen now so we can see what your favorite use it up recipe is for bananas. Do you make a smoothie, muffins, banana split? But I want to share with you that my banana pancake recipe takes a few seconds. All it takes is 2 very spotty black bananas and 2 eggs. You mix them up together and you fry them. And it is absolutely delicious. So I hope that you use my recipe, but tell us what your favorite recipe is. So I just want you to know that I am so excited to be working with young people to create a better future. We want you all to be change makers at home, at school, and within your local community. Can you please use this week to think about food, to love your food, to think of all the resources, that energy, that fuel, that water, the labor that have gone into making it, and find out about all the amazing food-related science and innovation that is going on around the world. I challenge you all to make a change at home, to make sure that food doesn't go to waste. I want to thank you all so very much for joining me today. If you've not been part of Feast yet, our education program for schools, Feast, is phenomenal. Make sure that your teachers, your principals, your school gets Feast on board. All you have to do is go to our website and look at www.ozharvest.org/feast and find out and get more resources or sign up to run Feast and fight food waste at your school. So everybody, now I think we've got time for questions.
Thank you so much, Ronni. That was such a great presentation. We have some wonderful questions that have been sent through from our schools and students attending today. So Ronni, MacArthur Girls High School would like to know, what gave you the idea to start OzHarvest?
Thank you for asking that question. So I was working in hospitality. I had an event company, and every single one of my events, I brought food into the event because it made it more warm, more homely, more connected. And we all love to share and celebrate around food. But what I discovered was that at every single one of my events, there was food left over. And for many years, I just let that food just go to landfill. I just didn't really understand the significance of that until one time I did an event with so much food left over that I knew I could never let that happen again. And I put that food into my van and I took it and delivered it to a charity. And it was so easy and it was so appreciated that I realized that I had a solution for the problem that I had created. I could take my food and deliver it to people in need. And I didn't know that it would land up being today over 175 million meals that we've delivered from perfectly good food that would otherwise have gone to waste, to rather feed people in need.
I absolutely love that story because it really connects with our students here today, that from one idea, you've created an organisation that is not just across Australia, but the model has now been used overseas. And it's really the idea of we can all be change makers when we can see we can make a difference. We have another question from MacArthur Girls High School, and that is, can you describe the journey food takes at OzHarvest from collection to consumer?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking this question. So every single day, a fleet of vehicles. Let's start from where the food comes from. So everywhere in the food supply chain, all along, from the producers, the farmers, the manufacturers, and then the businesses that we all go to, supermarkets, hotels, restaurants. That is when we're not in COVID, and hopefully we will get through COVID very quickly. So in all of those spaces, there is surplus food. It is perfectly good food that would otherwise go to waste and is fit for human consumption. So from every OzHarvest office around the country, and actually, as Amelia said, we also have this model globally. A vehicle leaves the OzHarvest warehouse empty, and it goes and will pick up food from maybe 8 to 10 of those suppliers, the supermarkets, shops, businesses, manufacturers. They then take that food and deliver it to a number of charities, maybe a dozen charities in that area. So it's all very, very efficiently worked out. It's all about logistics, and it's all about making sure that we can collect as much food as possible and deliver it directly, straight from the van to the charitable organization, which sometimes feel like Christmas has arrived at them every single day, because those organizations would never have the budget to buy fresh produce or the quality of produce that we bring them, even though it might look a little bashed or a little bruised. They understand that for them to use it, they can use it up and it works and provides nourishment and nurturing to their customers.
Yeah, wonderful. And some of the students attending today may see the vans at their schools, as we deliver to a lot of schools as well, which is really fantastic. But next time you see our drivers on the road, make sure you give them a big wave, because they're doing such fantastic work across Australia. We have a question from Cooperfield College. So they've asked, Ronni, when did you know that your business would succeed?
That is a great question, because I'd never started an organization like this. I had my own business. But I think right from the beginning, when I realized there was all the need and there was all the demand and there was this gap that I could fill, even though I thought I'd do this until I'd solved the problem, I didn't realize how big the problem was. I just knew that I had hit on something that would succeed. I had no idea it would become a global organization. I had no idea that 17 years later, this would be my life's work. But I did know that it was a great idea and that there was a need for it, and that I was committed to doing that all the time. I could see the need and the demand being met.
Wonderful. And I really love that within our organisation, it's not just within food relief, but we have so many other pillars and so many other ways to innovate to really reach our community. Could you talk a little bit about our education programs and how it's not just Feast today, we do have a number of others? Yeah.
Yes, we do have a number of others, and I'm going to share a little story with you. When we started delivering this beautiful food to organizations that had never seen this quality food, I realized something when this story that I'm about to share with you happened. I got a call one day after our vehicle, our driver had just delivered a whole beautiful salmon that we'd rescued off a show of MasterChef. They had a spare whole salmon and they called us to pick it up and we delivered it. And the next day I got a call from one of the agencies we delivered it to that said she wanted to share with me that this is what happened in her agency when they served the food. Somebody came up to her and said, I can't eat this fish because the fish is off. And what she said was, no, OzHarvest collected it in a refrigerated vehicle. Their drivers practice safe food handling, and it came straight off the ice to us. There is nothing wrong with the fish. Why do you think it's off? And the person said, because it's pink. So they had never seen pink fish before. That made me realize that in our agencies where we deliver food to, they don't know how to use the quality food that we were bringing them. And so the first education program we created was called NEST, Nutrition, Education, Sustainability Training, or nice, easy, simple tips. And sometimes we change sustainability for sustenance. And that program goes out into our agencies today. And we provide cooking classes to the people who come to the charities to teach them how to budget, how to cook healthy, beautiful, nutritional food on a very low budget. And it teaches the chefs also how to use great quality food. So NEST is our one program. We have another program called Nourish, which takes vulnerable youth, kids that perhaps have fallen through the education system, have never had an opportunity to really finish and learn and go to school successfully. And we put them through hospitality training. It's an 18-week course, and they come into OzHarvest, and we teach them. They leave with a Cert 2. We teach them. It's transformational. We teach life skills. We teach them how to cook. We teach them how to get a job. And many of those kids, at the end of their course, when they come in, they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. But when they leave, they stand up at their graduation and say that OzHarvest has opened a door that they didn't even know existed. So they're not as fortunate as each and every one of you sitting here today with the opportunities that you have been given. One, to participate in Science Week, and two, to be in schools where you can be innovative and become change makers yourselves.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ronni. We have a question from Karina, who is homeschooling at the moment. And she's asked, is there an environmental benefit of being vegan when she's already vegetarian?
So thank you. That is a very interesting philosophical question. Look, first of all, by being vegetarian, you are already making a big difference, because by minimizing and not eating meat, that is helping us. We're not suggesting that every single person becomes a vegetarian or a vegan, and I will get back to the vegan question. But by cutting down meat, even to a couple of times a week, this will make a huge difference to climate change, because of the impact that animals and the amount of space they take up and the gas they give off. All of these are very important. By being vegan, you are taking it to that next level, because you are not using the milk products. You are not using any of the byproducts that come out of the animal industry. And so, of course, again, it's making a difference to ultimately to climate change. And ideologically, of course, by taking it to that next step, you are making a statement that you care about every human, every being, as opposed to, protecting just the plants and vegetables. So there is no judgment around it, but yes, it does take that effect on the climate one stage further.
Great. And then Blairmount Public School have asked, how much food waste is unavoidable? We do have to peel our vegetables, we don't eat bones, and supermarkets can't sell food that goes off.
So you're 100% right. There will always be organic waste that cannot be eaten. I just want to say something about your peels, though. The peels of your vegetables could go into making a beautiful stock that is giving back nutrition to your food system. But what is wonderful about innovation is that there are many innovative solutions to utilizing organic food waste in the circular economy, so that, again, organic waste doesn't go to landfill, but can be utilized, whether it's to create compost or whether it's to go into animal feed. There are so many different ways now that organic waste is being utilized. And you're right, there always will be an element of organic waste, but more and more we're finding solutions for that too. And we'd love you to think of. So again, through this week and onwards, please use your skills and ideas to come up with solutions.
Great. And then our last question for today is from Bateman's Bay Public School. And this question is such a fantastic question to end on in our question session. And that's, how can one student help?
Wonderful question. So one student can help by making the choice to be very aware of valuing food and not wasting food. So when you take your school lunch, if you back at school, if you take your school lunch to school and you only eat half a sandwich, put it back in the fridge, eat it later. It's really, every single one of us has the ability to make a difference. And so don't ever undermine the impact that your choice will make. As a child, as a school kid, as a young adult, and as an adult. Every single one of us has a role to play. So just be mindful of your food, don't waste it, and become a climate activist and a climate change hero by helping us not waste food.
Great. And then before we end this session, we're just going to jump back to that film from Fight Food Waste, just a short clip that really captures the experience that you had visiting our farmers and seeing some food that was good quality food go to waste. We would love, after the 40-second clip, Ronnie, for you just to talk a little bit about how it felt going to that farm and having that experience.
Absolutely. No worries.
If I was to present this to, say, Coles and Woolworths for display or sale in their shop, they wouldn't be able to accept it. It doesn't comply with their sizings or their standards. Even though it's still a beautiful lemon and better value, it's riper, it's sweeter, and it's juicier. These ones you can pull off there, for example, and just drop them on the floor. Yeah,
Drop it.
yeah, just, I know. It breaks my heart to do this as well, anyone else's. I hate seeing this.
So I just want to share with you that I felt sick in my stomach watching that beautiful produce. I wanted to gather it up and put it in bags and take it straight away and share it with people. Because this farmer, his pain, when I thought about what it took him to get that fruit to grow, and the fragrance of the lemons and the fragrance of those strange looking oranges, but they tasted delicious. We cut them and broke them in half and ate them, and even the lemons. And so it was painful. And it really inspired me and reminded me why what I do, what OzHarvest does, and what each of us can do every single day, and how important it is to be aware of the value of food and make sure that it doesn't get thrown away.
Thank you, Ronni. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insights about how we can all be part of the solution. Thank you to our schools and our students for sending through such great questions, and for everyone for joining us. And thank you to Zoom for making this presentation possible. If you have any further questions, please email us at feast@ozharvest.org. Or if you would like more information or more great activities to fight food waste, please visit our website at www.ozharvest.org/feast. We hope that you enjoy the rest of National Science Week, and we look forward to supporting you all on your fight food waste journey. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.